My dear readers, permit me a moment's digression from the pressing affairs of state and the church, the creeping spectre of theocratic imposition, and the inexhaustible folly of our species, to address a matter of pop cultural frivolity with unexpected moral heft. The so-called Ghostbusters and their technological terror, the proton pack. It requires no ectoplasmic presence to observe that this quartet of postmodern Prometheans, armed not with the divine fire but with cyclotronic streams capable of ensnaring the souls of the dead, could have turned their incandescent lassos toward the ledgers of Manhattan's banks. Why, one might ponder with sardonic amusement, did these intrepid entrepreneurs, with the means to challenge the very barriers of the natural and the supernatural, restrain themselves to mere pest control? The answer, albeit shrouded in the ectoplasm of whimsy, is drenched with the sweat of moral labor. Imagine, if you will, a world in which Egon Spengler and his merry band eschew the containment of spectres, and instead, with avaricious glint in eye, apply their formidable arsenal to the vaults of Wall Street. It would be a spectacle of rapacious capitalism meeting its match in the form of 4 rogue technologists, subverting the systems of monetary security with the same irreverence with which they disturbed the afterlife's repose. Indeed, the proton pack, that unwieldy progeny of imaginative physics, might well have been the key to an anarchic upheaval in the world of fiscal propriety. The containment unit, no longer a mere repository for Slimer and his ilk, transformed instead into a safe deposit box of untraceable bills, liberated, shall we say, from their brick-and-mortar prisons. Yet let us not shy away from the phantasmagorical elephant in the room. The spirited incarceration of a so-called jogging ghost is a transgression that should provoke in us a more spirited disapproval. The Ghostbusters, in their pursuit of entrepreneurial success, laid a spectral siege upon this apparition with no more a warrant than the collective fright of a populace uncomfortable with the existential reminder of their mortality. This jogging spectre, doomed to an eternity of cardiovascular purgatory, was not some malevolent poltergeist or a Machiavellian spectre manipulating the levers of power from beyond the veil. No, here was an entity merely engaging in the post-mortem persistence of habit, the Sisyphean pursuit of fitness, infringing upon no one as it plodded the parks and byways. In their hasty entrapment of this harmless revenant, the Ghostbusters demonstrated a flagrant disregard for spectral autonomy, an imperialistic bent that says more about the American psyche than 100 hours of the most incisive psychoanalysis. Their actions ask us to consider whether the living, in their terror and ignorance, have any more right to Manhattan's thoroughfares than the ectoplasmic remnants of its former denizens. Therefore, while the economic spectacle of bank robbery via proton pack tantalizes with its anarchistic allure, we must not allow the spectre of such to distract us from the profound ethical implications of incarcerating a ghost merely for engaging in the spectral equivalent of a morning constitutional. The Ghostbusters, in their phantasmal incarcerations, display the very hubris that Prometheus, Icarus, and Oppenheimer warned us against, the overreach that comes before a fall. It strains credulity to presume that the Ghostbusters' streams of protons, capable of subduing the fabric of the hereafter, always found their mark with unerring precision. One shudders to consider the collateral fates of city pigeons, or, heaven forfend, the itinerant souls of the homeless, those already spectral in their societal invisibility, who might have been inadvertently caught in the crossfire. Could it be that amidst the chaotic ballet of their busting, the spectre of unintended consequences was itself an apparition eluding their capture? Did their beams, those torrents of subatomic wrath, ever misfire and consign some unwitting corporeal bystander to an impromptu and unrecorded, albeit messy, vanishing? The mind reels. To harness and shackle these silent vestiges of existence with their crude, unproven contraptions is an experiment that smacks not of entrepreneurial spirit, but of an ethical lunacy. The Ghostbusters, blinded by their own scientific bravado, might have been more profitably employed in the larceny of banks, with their apparitions in tow, pondering the weighty moral dilemmas posed by their containment strategies. They, like Oppenheimer, a titan straddling the realms of creation and destruction, could have echoed that poignant line from ancient scripture, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." Perhaps then our intrepid Ghostbusters, with their reckless trapping of apparitions, would admit, "Now we are become death, the clumsy wardens of the afterworld's anguished spirits.